watching on YouTube and Twitch. We're going to be doing a live review of the new patch here. Dropped October 14th on my birthday, so I feel like this is definitely targeted towards me. And I'm feeling good about it. So this is the update. What's the link? They usually give us a number. Yeah, 125.283. We'll leave a link below if you guys want to check it out yourself. But let's go ahead and jump right in here. So they gave us a bunch of different changes. So 1v1 Empire is back. Several changes and fixes on victors and vanquished scenarios. So a lot of campaign changes. New quality of life changes, bug fixes based on your feedback, and balance changes. This is a big patch, meaning there is balance changes and quite a few of them. And I already know most of the changes, so this is not like a live reaction. But I do want to talk and give my thoughts on some of the big changes that have, entered the game. So we're going to skip over most of it. So there's some stability and performance improvements. We're not going to spend too much time on these. I'm going to be focusing mainly on the balance part of things. So gameplay. So general, deer being pushed will ignore small obstacles such as resources and continue in the intended direction where possible. This is going to make deer pushing easier. They're not going to get stuck on like gold or wood anymore. Very good change. That was hella annoying beforehand. Pressing Alt plus set gather point will now set the gather point of a building to itself for Xbox users. Oh, that's cool. So if you go Alt and set gather point hotkey. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to use that much, but I guess that's decent. When setting gather points, holding shift will allow spawning units to follow multiple waypoints. This is fantastic. This makes it so if you have a stable near a woodline, the woodline has a hole in it. The unit sometimes gets out and gets stuck in that hole. With this setup, you can now shift Q the stable away from the hole and then straight forward towards your opponent's base. So the scout will get out, avoid the hole, and then go towards your opponent's base. That's a really good quality of life feature, and I'm super happy about that one. It's very small, like it's not a huge deal, but when it comes up, it's pretty huge. Assisted farm placement can now place farms around town center foundations. Okay, auto farm is now, a bit easier to use around new town centers. I guess that helps a little bit. We'll skip over the fixes, although this is good that it's fixed. Nice. Kings were occasionally able to attempt to attack ordinary units. Crazy. Okay, and we're going to skip a lot of the campaign stuff. So the campaign stuff, we're going to skip all of that. We're actually going to just jump straight to the balance changes here. And that should be good. Wait, I regret clicking it. There we go. Okay, so this is what I'm sure a lot of you guys are wanting to see and hear my thoughts of. So let's get started. So general, this is for standard units. Elite battle elephants and regular battle elephant conversion resistance increased from 0 to 2, increasing minimum and maximum conversion times by 2.5 seconds in game. This is a huge change. This change will mostly affect team games where normally elephants just don't see play because, monks just get on the field and destroy them. Whereas now with this change and devotion, maybe even faith as well, I think battle elephants will be very hard to convert. Now, I still think monks will be a good counter to elephants. This doesn't make monks bad against elephants. It just makes elephants a little bit easier to use in late game scenarios. So I think we'll see a little bit more battle elephant usage in team games. I don't know how much it will, affect things because Halberdier is still a great counter, but especially in those Black Forest or late game Arabia settings, I think battle elephant could be a little bit more viable now. But I also think this has a lot of application in 1v1. So for example, when you go for a push with something like Dravidians, Malay, that don't have good cavalry, like Bengalis, sometimes mixing in 1 or 2 elephants is really strong at chasing down mangonels, chasing down villagers. And now that they're harder to convert, I think we'll see a little bit more battle elephant play in 1v1. Not like big battle elephant pushes, mostly just 1 or 2 to help with pushes in Castle Age. I think that's where they get the biggest buff for 1v1. Next, we have a pretty uninteresting, but I'm quite happy about it, buff to the crossbowmen. Knights have been dominating a little bit too much, in my opinion, lately, especially at lower levels. This is going to help you a little bit at the crossbow play. So you basically save 25 gold for the crossbow upgrade and another 50 gold for arbalest. This makes them a little kind of halfway point between what they were originally, then they got nerfed hard, and now they're kind of in the middle again, which I think is a really good change. And I also like that they didn't nerf the food. The food is a good, spot because if they lower the food too much, fast imp, flank, arbalest play that was a bit, aids to deal with on team games was a bit too strong. Keeping the food count higher kind of deters you away from that fast imp. But now you're saving a little bit of gold going for them, which is nice. It's not going to change anything. It's just like you're going to go for them anyways. Like we were still making crossbows. Now you save 75 gold or 25 then 50, which is decent. Siege units. So pretty significant buff to ram. Battering ram attack versus buildings increased from 125 to 150, which is huge to be honest. Cap ram attack increased from 150 to 160, and armor element from 75 to 90. So that's huge. No real comment on it besides the fact that like now ram can actually kill castles and castlage potentially. So it'll require some testing, but I think if rams are now able to take out castles, that could shake up things and make all-in castle age gameplay a little bit stronger. I don't think this changes that much for anything else. Like rams will do a bit more damage when you just make them in castle age to like, you know, push houses. Overall, I think like rams did get a pretty significant buff here, but it won't change the nature of it. You're not going to go for rams more often now. You just might have a better chance of killing a castle with a ram, or a better, you know, a faster siege push with your rams in castle age. Armor elephant, same story. Heavy scorpion projectiles now affected by ballistics. This is insane. This we have to talk about. So this was basically a Roman bonus that was turned into a generic just bonus affecting all scorpions in Castlage and Imp. And this is, I think this is potentially insane, but I need to test it. So I'm going to reserve a lot of my comments here, but I will give you guys a couple scenarios that I've been thinking about over the past couple days. Number one, getting ballistics might actually be a bad thing in Castlage, especially if you have 1 or 2 scorpions, because it could be easy to micro against the ballistics when you have like crossbows. They shoot and then you just move the other way, and then the scorpion always misses. So I think if you have like 1 scorpion with ballistics in Castlage, it's quite bad. Potentially, it could be easy to micro against. But I think if you have multiple scorpions with ballistics, it's going to make them a lot stronger. So now this is a buff to like the more scorpions you have, the better this buff is for the scorpions. But I also think that some Khmer, Celts, just maybe even like Chinese, any civ that gets a really good scorpion is going to be insane in the late game now. Like I think this is a huge buff to it, because before it was just Roman scorpions. You needed like civ combinations to make them like really strong, but now it's every single scorpion, which I think is potentially a huge threat. This is going to make scorpions quite a big threat in the late game, which is probably a good thing because they haven't really been seeing too much play. So I think this is overall a good change, but I just hope it doesn't get too out of hand. So we'll keep an eye on this. It'll need some testing, but so far I think it's a very nice change the more scorpions you have on the field. Fortifications, Palisade Gate armor has increased from 2.2 to 2.4. I am like 90% sure this change came about after I made the video about it. I don't want to take credit. Like obviously the world doesn't revolve around me, although sometimes I'd like to believe so. And this is the time I'd love to believe so, because I swear I made a video about this, and this is my biggest critique: how archers just melted Palisade Gates. But now this change makes that video horrible. That video is not functioning anymore. This change makes Palisade Gates quite good again. I still think it's expensive to make them, but I'll probably start making them again, because that's a really good buff to the Palisade Gates. Archers will do 1 damage, so breaking gates in Feudal Age will still be really hard. Harder than breaking a Palisade wall, actually. So I'll probably start making these again. Palisade Gates, huge buff. My video obsolete. Damn it. Damn, you won this time, Microsoft, but I'll get you next time. Okay, market. This is a huge change as well. Trade cart and trade cog collision size lowered. That's not a big change. That's good. It's going to make bumping less likely in trade routes, and it makes it so like the trade carts don't get stuck as often, which is really good. At least it sounds good. Let's see if it works in theory. In practice, sorry. Market-based exchange rates for food price increases from 100 to 115. So basically, this is what it means. So before, to buy 100 food, it cost you 130 gold. Now it's going to cost you 150 gold for the first buy of food of the game. That's a huge change. And then initial standard gold reward for selling 100 food is increased from 70 gold to 81 gold. So now your first sell of the game gives you 81 instead of 70. Now, this we need to talk about. A lot of people are saying that this will kill FC strategies. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily think so. I think FC strategies like Phosphor Rush are still very possible. They still work. But what this hurts is this hurts the follow-up. So I think you can still FC now, but if you don't kill the guy right away, your follow-up is way weaker. Like, the best part about Phosphor before was that you can rush, and if you don't kill him, you do a lot of damage, you can then just use the market to like stabilize your economy. And now it's still possible, it's just going to be a lot harder. So all-in FC strategies are still here. They will still be a thing, but it's going to be harder to do them, and harder to recover after the initial push, which I think is probably a good thing overall. This also changes the way you see how you play Feudal Age, because usually with archer-civs like timing civs, like Ethiopians, Britons, getting up to next age and going crossbow is really good, and usually you use the market for that. You can market, you sell stone, you buy some food, and then you're up. But now it's basically harder to do that style of gameplay, whereas making farms and going to castage normally without the market is better. This is a really good change for players like me that like to make a lot of farms and like to play aggressive in Feudal Age and whatnot, play for extended Feudal Ages. And this is a bad change for someone like Doubt that usually likes to skip Feudal Age. Whether it's good, like personal reasons aside, whether it's good overall for the game, I'm not sure. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. I'm personally not sure how I feel about it. It's going to really change things up. It's going to change how you boom, because I was buying food before to help my boom out. Now it's harder to do that. When you're on defense and like you're forced to mine a lot of gold, it's harder to buy food. But on the other side, if you have a lot of food, selling it for a lot of gold is going to be better. So it rewards more farming play. It's a buff to farming play, which I think is interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, now we'll talk about civ-specific changes. So Aztecs military units create faster civilization bonus increased from 11% to 15%. That it was at 15% before, then they nerfed it, and then they brought it back. I'm not too excited about it. I think this just makes Aztecs better at what they're already good at, which is spamming eagles and monks. I don't know what Aztecs need, but I guess this helps them a little bit. I still think they're going to be a really bad civ at lower levels, though, and like a decent civ at higher levels for 1v1 Arabia at least. Bohemians, Hussite Wagon training time increased from 26 seconds to 30 seconds. I think this is a good change. Hussite Wagons are still quite strong. And they're very annoying, which is the biggest thing about gunpowder units, is that they're super annoying to deal with. So any nerf to them, usually I'm going to be quite happy about it. And this is a pretty minor nerf, so it should be fine. Byzantine's fire ships and Dromans attack faster has been reduced from 25% to 20%. This is probably needed. Yeah, Byzantines were dominating a little too hard. They're still going to be good, but yeah, just a little bit weaker. Doesn't change too much in my opinion. Chinese fiction issue where team bonus was providing slightly different than intended bonus farm food amounts. I don't know what this is referring to, but hey, thanks for fixing it. Dravidians, they get an extra 1 range on their unique ship, which is actually quite good. This gives them the same range as a galleon. So I think this unit will be stronger than galleons, like convincingly, but this unit is very weak to fast fire ships. So I don't think this would be a huge change, but you could see more play from this unit in late game for Dravidians for sure. Georgians got a Manaspa HP nerf, so 75 for the regular version, that's been brought down to 70, and 90 for the elite version, brought down to 80. This makes it so Manaspa is taking the identity as a glass cannon that's easy to mass. So like the best part about Manaspa is they cost 40 gold. Very easy to mass. They produce fast as well. And they also get more attack the more you have them. And basically by reducing their HP, they're making the Manaspa's identity stand out a little bit more. Which I think is probably a good change. The Manaspa are way too strong. But I think I would have liked to see them address the healing on the scouts in Feudal Age. I think that's way more annoying than the Manaspas. But fair enough. I think this is going to help a lot of people. Manaspa's been a bit too strong. I don't know if Georgians needs any more changes after this, but I think they might still need another nerf. We'll see. They're still easily top 5 civ regardless of this change, though. Huns, Hunnic Horse gets less movement speed. Good change. I'm a huge anti-Hunnic Horse guy. I really don't like that concept at all. Their win rate on Nomad is absolutely insane as well. It's really frustrating to play against. I wish they'd remove it and give Huns something else, but some people like it, so fair enough. A small nerf to its movement speed is going to keep it in check. Khmer Ballista Elephants, now affected by ballistics. Same thing as Scorpions. That could be really insane. Same commentary as the Scorpions. We'll have to test it out, but that sounds really insane. Again, for one Ballista Elephant, it's going to be bad because microing against ballistics is really easy. But for like 40 Ballista Elephants, this should be like absolutely insane. So this could actually break the Ballista Elephant, but I need to test it more often. So we'll see how that plays out. Koreans, elite turtle ship upgrade has now been reduced from 1,000 food, 800 gold to 650 food and 500 gold. That's a huge buff. Holy. They just cut 650 total res from the upgrade. And they buffed it. It gave more movement speed. So 0.9 and elite at 1.035 to now both of them moving at 1.05. I think we'll see turtle ships more often. That's a really good buff to movement speed. I think turtle ships will be broken, actually. Yeah, I think turtle ships will actually be really broken. The only way to counter turtle ships after this will be with War Galley. You can't kill them with fast fire, I think. Demos will still be okay, but fast fire, like fire ships, will probably not work too well. Because before you had to like chase them down very fast, but now I think you have a bit too much kite potential. I think that's a huge buff to Koreans on water maps, or like hybrid maps usually. We'll see. I'm a fan of it. But this feels quite significant. Persians, elite war elephant, consistent conversion resistance. Okay, same thing as battle elephant then. Okay. Good, I guess. Same commentary as the battle elephant part, where I think it just makes them better in late game for team games. Okay, this is probably the most interesting new change. So, new civilization bonus for Poles, bloodlines, and scout line upgrades cost minus 50% food. Initial thoughts, I don't like it because I think it's a very lazy bonus. I think it's a very just cheap bonus that like doesn't really make Poles any more special or fun to play. It just makes them better at what they were already good at, which feels weird to me. But at the same time, some positives is that now you have discounts on your Cavalier line with the unique tech, and you have discounts on your Scout Cav line, and then Bloodline's kind of the link between both. So this feels like it will break Poles at lower levels in some ways, because I think Poles are already really good at lower levels, and this just makes them a little bit stronger. In some cases, I say it breaks. I don't think it's going to break them. They're not going to be like broken, but I think this will be quite strong. And at pro level, I don't think it makes Poles a crazy 1v1 Arabia Civ, but I think it just makes them stronger at what they were already good at. So if you had a map that you want to play Poles, now Poles are just better on that map. I'm thinking Arena, for example, could be interesting. Getting light cav at 75 food is pretty significant. And also, this is very similar to the Burgundians bonus in some ways. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this change. I think it's a bit lazy, to be honest with you. But it's a significant change. I think it'll be good. It also helps your CA play since you're saving 75 food on bloodlines. Yeah, it's quite significant. We'll see how I feel about this Civ later. Portuguese got a buff to the Caravel training time. It's a pretty significant buff as well. Caravels get out a little bit faster now. And organ gun training time increased from 21 to 25. So a nerf to organ guns and a buff to Caravels. This is good. Same reasoning as the Hussite wagon. Gunpowder units are annoying. The longer it takes to get them out, the better it is. And the worse that all-in rushes are, which I think is overall a good thing. I think gunpowder units are very, very annoying. Except the Conquistador. I think that's strong but fair. Romans. Civilization bonus that affects Scorpions. Wording adjusted since all civilizations Scorpions are now affected by ballistics. Okay, so they just didn't get anything in exchange. Interesting. Nothing in exchange. One more thing I want to talk about, by the way. Pathfinding, they said they fixed it, but they say that every time. I want to show you guys something. I'm pretty sure what you can do. Yeah, here you go. So you can actually do a custom random civ. So if you start out a few civs, you only get these civilizations when you go random. So if I want to play any civ but Dravidians, I can star the 44 civs except Dravidians, and I'll never get Dravidians on random. I think that's a really good change. Should make playing random easier, and it should also make it more fun. So I'm a huge fan of this change. I think it's great. I hope it works well, but I think it works fantastically, at least in theory. So yeah, you can just star whatever you want, and you create your own custom civ pool for random civ, which is cool. Okay, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Overall thoughts, I like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And that's it. Peace.